What's happening, everybody? I hope you guys are enjoying your Saturday afternoon. I know for a fact I am as well, too. Because, of course, motherfuckers, it's game day. It's game day. Spurs versus Wolves. And holy fuck, man, what an interesting day around the Premier League today. Absolute upsets. And, of course, Crystal Palace, man, with the late winner beating Liverpool, ending their hot start to the start of the Premier League campaign. And, of course, now, Crystal Palace is, the only undefeated team left in the Premier League. And, of course, they're chilling in second place and all that good stuff right now. But Spurs also have an opportunity to jump into second place with a beautiful victory today over Wolves. And that's about to get started in about 15 minutes. Before we get into it, man, make sure you hit the like and subscribe buttons because we have now just clipped 300. But obviously, we are on a race for 1,000. And hopefully we can do that by the end of the Premier League season. So, all right, Spurs versus Wolves. And, of course, for those who weren't paying attention last weekend, Spurs came from behind to nick a 2-2 tie at what I like to call the House of Pain, which is the Amex. That was an excellent come-from-behind victory. And then, of course, midweek, we absolutely demolished Doncaster. And I guess it was a tale of two halves. The first half, very clinical. And I thought we were actually getting, very good, beneficial crosses from both Brendan Johnson and Wilson Odobert. And there was a case to be made that had Matisse Tell connected on a few of them. We probably go up into the half, probably 3-4-0, but of course it just didn't work out that way. And in the second half, it was just absolute dog shit. Until Brendan Johnson got the third, and that was it. And I guess that kind of shows you the dichotomy of where Spurs supporters were last year and where they are now. Because listen, last year was so toxic that every single time that we went down one, we went down two, there was absolutely no hope. This year, not only is the expectation to win, but also to win convincingly. And so when we have these type of halves, it kind of makes people pause for a little bit and say, well, shit, man, are we a good team or are we going to be in a position where potentially, we're going to, essentially slump off games. But that being said, today we're going against a team like Wolves that quite honestly are not good. They sit at the bottom of the Premier League. They have a negative, seriously, a negative 9 goal differential, only 3 goals to the good. They've conceded 12, 5 straight losses to start, and there's no doubt that Wolves are going to get relegated. Let's just call it what it is. When you look at the 3 that came in, okay, when you look at the 3 that came in, right now Sunderland sitting in third on 11 points. Leeds is chilling on 8 points, and Burnley's got 4. Now, quite honestly, I think Burnley's probably going to get relegated. But would it surprise anyone if Leeds and Sunderland stayed up and Wolves and West Ham went down? It wouldn't surprise me at all. That's exactly the type of team that Spurs are playing today. And this is an opportunity for Spurs to put themselves within the top 2 and really kick themselves on. And I think from a club perspective, I don't think that there's going to be a letdown today. I just can't imagine it, right? Where Spurs teams in the past, like this would be a banana peel type game where one of those type of teams that we would consider a bogey team, but Wolves are just that bad. I think they lost Cunha, they lost Etnori. I mean, you essentially take out their heart and they take out their lungs and they take out their kidneys over the summer. And what's left is they didn't necessarily replace those type of class of players. And so what's left is Wei Hee Chang or Chen and Strand Larson, who I'm actually kind of bullish on. I like Strand Larson. But that being said, it is what it is, man. That's the type of team that they are. And when you look at our lineup today, there is no excuses. As we look at it, Vicario is going to get the start in net, as he always does. The back 4, I actually like the back 4 today, as Destiny Udogie will be on the left. Obviously, Van de Ven and Romero, who's wearing the captain's armband today. And on the right, it's going to be Jed Spence. And I actually like this because, let's be perfectly honest, if you have this type of backup, there is no excuse not to rotate. And when you look at the minutes that have already been clocked by Pedro Porro, this was the perfect opportunity to get him some rest, and I'm perfectly okay with that. Jed Spence, I think a lot of Spurs fans look at him as a left back, but let's understand that he's a right back, who, by the way, can play left back. The midfield three is going to be Rodrigo Betancourt, João Palhinha, and Lucas Bergvall, who's playing the 10. From my standpoint, I'm okay with Lucas Bergvall being out there. I think he's played his way into a little bit more of a role in that midfield. But I know a lot of Spurs fans out there are licking their chops to see Xavi Simons kind of take a hold of that role, considering he's probably our most creative player. But unfortunately, tonight he's out on the left. Richarlison is through the middle, and Mohamed Kudus will be up on the right. Our bench is going to be Kinski, Danso, Tell, Gray, Johnson, Pedro Porro, Wilson Odobert, Papsar, and Dane Scarlett. Good bench today as well, too. And again, this is an opportunity to essentially state their case, because these are the type of games that come back and bite you in the ass in the second half of the season, especially if how I think this is going to play out throughout the next quarter of the season when we start playing the Chelseas, the Liverpools, the Arsenals, right? These are the type of points that you just don't want to drop right now, because it's the difference between 3 and 6 points, especially when you end up dropping at least one of them to Liverpool, Chelsea, etc. Right? So these are the type of points that you want to clock now, especially when you look at next week. I think we got Leeds next week as well, too. So again, this is an opportunity, to really put yourself in a position to essentially state your case for the top 4, top 3, especially when you consider that the bulk of the bigger part of the schedule is coming up in just over a month. So again, when I look at this, it's pretty cut and dry for me. This is a game where there should be absolutely no excuses. And if you go from what I've been saying, that the consistency or the what's the word I'm looking for? The continuity, I guess you can say, that that team chemistry, all of that, to me, that was already decided in the preseason when they made that Asian tour. And they were getting their first look up of some of the teams that they were going to be matched up during the regular season. And they didn't get played off the park. As a matter of fact, they held their own against some of the best in the Premier League. So from that standpoint, I think this team is full of confidence as all. Yes, we're going to drop points along the way, but one of the things that I've been pleased is that there's no carryover effect, right? I guess that's one of the things that Thomas Frank has installed, is this team's belief that every single week is an opportunity. It's it's a challenge, and that just because you dropped one against Bournemouth, or you got off to a bad start against Brighton, has absolutely no effect on the next match, right? The next match is exactly that. It's an opportunity. And it seems that this team has grabbed a hold of that, because every single week they come back and they just look better. Hopefully today they get after Wolves early. That is my hope, right? Because when's the last time that we've seen this team actually play consistently whistle to whistle, right? There's always like a part of the game where, I don't know, man, they're not exactly fluid, but they still manage to grab points, right? I guess that's the only thing that matters. But that being said, I would like to see it today against a team like Wolves, where whistle to whistle, not only do they get after early, but they stay fluid, they stay clean, they stay crisp in their passing. And they hold off for the entire 90 minutes, right? I that's just what I want to see, man. Today is a good opportunity for this team just to play clean, man, all the way around. Speaking of Wolves, this is how they're lining up today. In net for Wolves is Johnstone. They have the back three of Doherty, Krejci, and Bueno. Midfield 4 is Munetsi, Andre, Gomez, and Bueno. They have the double Bueno. That's Bueno. They line up in a 3-4-2-1 with the double Bueno. That's pretty cool. Their 2 high 10s will be Arias and Wang, and of course Strand Larson will be up top, right? And the only 2 guys that make me a little nervous will be Wang and Strand Larson, and the way that those two interchange. But then again, they also have Gomez as well too, who's absolutely brilliant. The Brazilian, 24 years of age, is one of their underrated killers. So it's not like they have nothing. But that being said, we should have the defensive prowess to make sure that any type of threat from those three are going to be eliminated. Let's go to the chat real quick because we have my buddy Dan Davenport who says, "Big up, Steve, my favorite American Tottenham fan live streamer." That's awesome, man. Thanks for taking the time out. And he says, "On paper, we should beat Wolves by 2 or 3." That is the hope. That is the hope, Dan. That is the hope. There's no excuses, right? And I said at the beginning of the season, like when you look at this team's first 2.5 months, there was nobody really that stood out, except for obviously Man City away, and of course we handled that. And then after that, it's like what? Brighton away, Aston Villa maybe, but when you really looked at it, I was like, man, this team should have anywhere between 16 and 20 points by the time they hit November. Anywhere in that ballpark, and it's starting to kind of look like that, which is actually going to be brilliant. Because the one thing that that does is it actually gives you the confidence to understand that, number one, you can actually be in it when it counts, but you know for a fact that you're not going to be afraid of any of those teams. And if what we saw today around the Premier League is any indication that any team can beat anybody on any given day. And it's not just isolated to Selhurst Park and Crystal Palace. But that being said, I was happy that Crystal Palace got the dubs today, but it also lets me know that they're not invincible. Watching Chelsea today let me know that they're not invincible. Speaking of match days, let's get into it. Let's see. Brentford beat Manchester United 3-1. Holy shit. Igor Thiago. By the way, Igor Thiago is awesome. He bags a brace today. Matthias Johnson got one in 90+5, and Benjamin Sesko bagged one in the 26th minute. But that being said, Brentford all over Manchester United. I love it. Leeds and Bournemouth played to a 2-2 tie. Brighton absolutely bully Chelsea. It looks like Kalaba got a red card in the 53rd minute, but Danny Welbeck bags a brace. Maxim de Kuiper in 90+2, and Enzo Fernandez got one for Chelsea. But look at Brighton all over Chelsea. Manchester City dummied Burnley, which is not a surprise. Crystal Palace with a 2-1 victory over Liverpool, and Sunderland, baby. Bagging one and beating Nottingham Forest. How does that make everybody feel, right? I'm just curious how you guys feel about that, right? Because Ange Postecoglou, whether you like him or not, off the heels of a Europa League trophy, gets a second job in the Premier League. He's at Forest, and it's been a rough start for him. But that being said, when you see that happen and you see his results so far, is that something that doesn't surprise you, or I'm just curious about how you guys feel about it, because I've already let bygones be bygones. I wish him the best, and I actually hope it works out for him at Forest. But that being said, he's got to be able to get a win at some point, just to get the vibes going. But that being said, man, because at times Forest has looked good under Ange, and at times they've looked bad. But I certainly wish him the best of luck. But that being said, we are almost ready to start. And it looks like Wolves are getting into their pre-match huddle. There's Hee-Chan, Wang Hee-Chan. I'm all excited for the double Bueno. They have two dudes with the last name of Bueno. I can't get over it. That's very good. That's very bueno. But we are underway here, and it looks like Spurs have come out of their huddle. And we are about ready to start this one. God, Richie looks stupid with his he really does. He looks stupid with his blonde hair. Hopefully that blonde hair doesn't disrupt any of that goal scoring prowess. Look, we have Arthur Bushby. Leeds United is the best team in England. Leeds versus Spurs next week, yeah. And we are underway as this ball is played back to Vicario, and then it gets immediately played forward. And it looks like that's going to get out of play. So 11 seconds into the first half, it'll be a Spurs throw-in off the left touch line. But Leeds United is the best team in England? Really? Yeah, I know. You got your American boy, Brendan. And by the way, I'm happy that Brendan has carved out a nice little starting role for Leeds on the right-hand side. I actually am one of those guys that loves Brendan Aronson. As that ball gets played into the box and it's immediately headed back in. And now it's going to be cleared. And it looks like Kudus is going to be the first one into the ball as Kudus holds it in. So we're gonna find out whether that Jed Spence Mohamed Kudus connection is going to be able to work. This Van de Ven will quickly play it around. Good ball in, and now it's going to be cleared. And Spurs are putting on the pressure a little bit early, and I like to see it. And it looks like that ball went out. So Spurs will have another throw in here. And Spurs are doing their best opportunity to apply as much pressure as they can within the first couple minutes as they're hunting that first goal. As it looks like Bergvall will play this in. As it gets played back, it's Romero. Now it's Mr. Jed Spence off that right-hand side. Spence is going to play this one forward. And Spence can't keep it in. Wolves throwing. Just out of curiosity, Mr. Arthur Ashby, what first and foremost, how long have you been a Leeds supporter, and why do you think Leeds is the best team in England? I don't know if you're trolling or not, by the way, as this ball gets out of play, and it looks like it'll be a Wolves throw-in real quick. I kind of dig these blue and yellow kits. As that ball gets played forward. And now it's going to be a race as Udoji was out a little bit. As Wolves will recycle here. Again, Spurs. One of the things that I wanted to see was just how committed Spurs will be in the press. And it looks like as of right now, Wolves are able to get forward. Look at Kudus. Look at Kudus against Hee-Chan, not giving him space. That one gets out. And Wolves will have their first corner as we're about 3.5 minutes into the first. As that ball will go in low. And there's going to be a race to this ball. And it's eventually going to come down into Wolves' possession here. And that ball's going to get played all the way back to Johnstone, who immediately sends it back up the right-hand side. And it'll fall down to Strand Larsen. Oh, Mikey Van de Ven. That's a beautiful slide tackle right there by Mikey. No whistle. Play continues on here with Jed Spence on the right-hand side. As João Polina pushes forward in space. Tries to play it forward. And Wolves will have to play this one back. Johnstone plays it forward. And it falls off the left-hand side. Looks like it's Wang. Plays it across. 3 overlap. Ball in. And that's going to get headed down. And now Bergvall will try to play it out. And it does, but Wolves will hold possession. So as quick as Spurs wanted to start, so have Wolves. The Wolves have done a good job countering the press here. That's a nice little pass inside. Plays it off the left-hand side. There's a ball in. And it sails over everyone, but it's going to be held back in. Wolves will try again here. Off the right-hand side. Ball's going to get switched. And it looks like it's won by Kudus. And here comes Bergvall trying to press forward. Oh, nice. Oh, Kudus just picked the pocket. And Polina now will make the switch to the left-hand side. And it's going to be Udoji on the overlap. No whistle. Woo! No whistle. Interesting. As Udoji gets bullied. I guess good defense right there. Looks like it's Munetsi. As Wolves will throw in. And that immediately goes out. Last touched, I believe, by Wolves. So it'll be a Spurs throw-in. Excuse me. And it's taken away. Here comes Wolves now, the right-hand side. Trying to play that one. It gets deflected. And I believe that was João Polina that was the responsible party for the deflection. So it'll be another Wolves corner. And now all of a sudden, Wolves have Spurs under the pressure here. Looks like they're trying to fight for that first goal. They've certainly done a very good job getting forward so far. As that ball gets whipped in, it's immediately headed out and looks like it was Xavi who immediately races to the ball. As that ball gets played a little centrally, but there's Vicario to clean it up. And so Spurs now will have possession. And it'll begin with Lucas Bergvall, who lays it off. It's Jed Spence. As that ball will go out to the left. And Xavi cannot corral it in as it gets out of play. And these miscues, man. It's like the fine touches are just lacking. And I guess that's going to come. It's going to come when you have quality, as Spurs do. It's that little bit of form that's late to the party, but it'll eventually come. As Wolves have possession now. Ooh, as Richarlison nearly took it away. As that ball gets played down. Nice little underlap by Hee-Chan. Tipped. Spurs will retain possession. Here's Polina. And it's Kudus who's got to play this one back. Good defense right there by Spurs. As Hee-Chan had a nice little underlap. And Cudi Romero will play this up the left-hand side. There's Xavi. Excuse me, it's Udoji coming down with it. Tries to get around the corner. There's nobody there. Tipped away. Xavi holds it in. That one gets tipped away. Oh. But there's a giveaway. That Spurs will keep it in Wolves territory here. It's Palhinha. It's no mistake that Spurs are trying to attack down this left-hand side. As that ball gets played up the left-hand side, here's Udoji. Tries to play one in. That gets tipped away and out, and Spurs will have their first corner. As the Wolves have done a very good job defending that left-hand side. It's obvious where they want to attack. Ooh, that was a handball on Doherty. As Xavi will handle the corner duties. Spurs have actually been excellent scoring goals off set pieces. As that ball gets whipped in, headed up and out by Netzi. So we'll replay this one. Ugh, beg your pardon. Getting a little tired in my old age. As that ball gets whipped in again. This time it comes down. And Richarlison will beat him. Looks like that's going to go out. And they're going to say Wolves throw it. Last touch by Wolves. I see how this game is going to play. As this throw-in will be handled by Bueno. It's no bueno. That ball will come up, and Palhinha will head it forward. Finally, it's going to get cleared. As Jed Spence does a very good job. But now Bueno gets ran over. Here comes Bergvall. Plays it forward to Xavi. Xavi. As Bergvall's in traffic. As Betancourt now is going to have to play this one back. Damn. As here's Udoji. Udoji's going to play one in. Back post! Ooh, it got there. Oh, boy. And looks like Mohamed Kudus and Richarlison are down. Did they collide at the back post? As we check this again, Udoji puts a good ball in. Oh, yeah. So Kudus got on it. And it looks like Richarlison was taken down. Good save by Johnstone. And that could have been 1-0 right there. As Kudus got his head on the ball. And Richarlison was taken down. First real good opportunity for Spurs. As the physios are out there looking after Richarlison. as the ref has signaled for Richarlison to move to the side here. So Spurs, looks like Spurs will be down the man for a quick second. There's Jose Sa. What did I think about Enoch rejecting a $4.5 billion takeover? I want to know, as that ball gets thrown in and it gets punched out immediately, Bergvall will hold it. As that ball goes to the right, Kudus is tracking it. It's just a little over his head. I would like to know if it was legit. That would be my first question. Is it legit? And if it is legit, is Enoch looking for the right deal? Right. So I guess you have to weigh the cost analysis of it, right? Is Enoch looking for the right bid? We know that Spurs are valued somewhere between 3.5 and 4 billion. And this is going to be something where if Enoch is to accept a takeover bid, is it, what is their actual price? Me personally, I think it's like 5.5. As Munetsi hits the turf. And it looks like the guilty party is Jed Spence. Or is this something where, Enoch is looking for a second bidder, so there's a bidding war? I personally think that Enoch wants to get out of the football business. And one of the biggest reasons why Levy was gone, because they didn't want him to be a part of the negotiations. That would be my guess, as Wolves will have a free kick here. As that ball goes in, that's a bad ball in. Now there's going to be a race between Gomez and Bergvall, and Wolves win the battle there. Yep, that is true. Amanda Staveley and their Saudi consortium. Yep. And if that's also serious, if that consortium is serious, maybe maybe Enoch will actually have a bidding war on their hands, which is something that they probably want, right? Because they probably want to sell north of 5 billion. As Jed Spence now will play this one back. I think either way, that I think it does get sold. Here's Betancourt now, playing it up the left. Here's Xavi. That's actually Udogi. And it's the Udoge. He plays it back to Betancourt. Good pass in. And now this thing is going to go to the well over the head of Kudus. It looks like Xavi was trying to swing it out right. That is my take, though, is that not only is the Spurs attack not great right now, but that I would probably assume that Enoch is looking for the right play, looking for the right price. And so the most logical is trying to get two consortiums to play off themselves. As that ball is going to be played all the way forward from Johnstone. And Van de Ven gets there first. And now Spurs will control it in the middle of the park. Here's Paulinha. And Jed Spence plays it back to Kudi. Good pass right there. As Richarlison came deep to make a touch. Looks like that ball gets played out of bounds, and so Spurs will have to throw in here. We are 20 minutes through the first half. Spurs have only had one real look at the back post. Outside of that, it hasn't been great. But that ball gets deflected. Here's Udogie. Plays it in. And it looks like two Wolves collide here. Setting it out so it'll be a Spurs throw in here. As we look at that again, yeah, it looked like, ooh. It looks like Andre played it off the face of one of his teammates there. Spurs will have the corner here as they lead the corner battle 3-2. As Xavi will have another opportunity here. As that ball goes short, headed on forward. Xavi. Oh. Chav. Chav, what are you doing, bud? Trying to flick it back. Let's see. Have I been to meet Jack yet in Seattle? I have not. The last time I was in Seattle was in May, and I did get a hold of Jack 2 weeks prior, but he rarely checks his Twitter DMs. But I got him on the WhatsApp. And next time I am in the Pacific Northwest, as that ball's taken away, here comes Udogie racing up the left side. Played in. Right to, Berg ball. Bergie. Oh. That was just a great interception right there by Udogie, who raced forward. He had two. And it was played into Bergvall off the tip, and he just could not get on the end of it. And now Wolves will be in possession here. Yeah, but the next time I find myself in Seattle, I'll definitely get hold of Jack. Good guy, that Jack. As Wolves now will play it down to the left. As that ball will go back post. Udogie clears it out, held in by Wolves. And that one will get deflected out. Yeah, sure. I'm easily, I can, absolutely. As that one will go out for a L corner kick, which is Spanish for the corner kick. I don't know why I used the word L right there. As that ball gets played in, just a little shallow. As that ball gets deflected, as He-Chan went from distance there. Looking again at that bird ball, he just flat out missed it. Looking like Matisse Tell against Doncaster. Too soon as that ball gets played forward. As it's Lucas Bergvall coming down with it. Up the left-hand side, lays. Try to lay it off for Xavi, and now here come Wolves. Bad pass. Spurs will keep possession. Here's Jed Spence. Try to play it inside. It gets deflected. But there's Cudi Romero. Here's Kudus with the overlap. Taken away. Golly. Absolutely disjointed in the attack. They literally cannot string together two passes. As we are 25 minutes in, Spurs have actually been the aggressor on the attack, but for whatever reason, it's that finishing quality that continues to elude them. Wolves haven't even been great defensively either. Yeah, there's going to be a whistle. As Xavi goes down. And it looked like Andre was the one that got his foot in there. It's always some dude named Andre. It's always some dude named Andre. As Spence will try to play it forward to Kudus. There's nobody there, but it's Bergvall. Here's Kudus. Plays it into Bergie. Flipped on. Here's Kudus. Boom! Oh, you fucking dick. Offside. As we watch it again. Oh, yeah, okay. Oh. 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 What a goal that wasn't exactly. That was just such a beautiful finish. There's got to. Oh, there's a whistle right there. God damn it! What a finish. Oh, what a dick move calling offside. As that ball gets played forward. Good way to hold it in. Here's Betancourt. Here's Udoge. Oh, nice. Oh, nice ball away. Here's Udoji. Oh, and you can't be hesitant, but you have to play it in. As Udoji sprang free, as that ball gets played forward, now you got to play one in, bud. I understand there were no runners there, but it was a good ball forward. And you either got to shoot or you either got to shoot or make a pass right there. You can't hold on to it. As Xavi will take another corner. As we're approaching the 30th minute here, that ball gets played in. Headed up. So Spurs will do it again. It really feels like Spurs are on the doorstep knocking. They're just having trouble with that finishing touch here. As Xavi will do it again. Headed up and kept back in. Jed Spence will find Kudus. Off the right-hand side, Kudus. Here's Spence. As Kudus will hold it. And we'll play it all the way back to Vicario. And here's Jed Spence. Here's Bergvall, plays it across. And that's going to be played out. Kept in by Caduce. And it looks like there's going to be a corner again. As João Gomez has something to say about it, but it's a corner nonetheless. And this one will be Mohamed Kudus. As his arm goes up, ball gets played. Back post. There's Johnstone. Oh. As we're about 15 minutes to the halftime whistle, Spurs have been close. As Wolves will try to get forward here. They're doing a good job. And there's a whistle now. As Xavi's going to get the yellow here. And I want to see this one again. Xavi goes to ground. Oh, I don't know. Yeah, I guess. It's one thing if you're late and you're clearly playing the man, but it looked like Xavi's timing was good. It looked like he got all ball too. As Wolves will have the free kick. That one gets played in. Headed up. And now cleared. As Lucas Bergvall applied serious pressure right there. But Wolves continue to attack. Yeah. Wolves still in possession here. That ball's taken away. Here comes Spurs. But taken right back. As it's played all the way back to Johnstone here. As Brand Larson hits the deck. Yeah. As Spurs will hold possession. As we were in about to hit the 34th minute now. From what I've seen so far, Spurs do lack that clinical end finish. But they have no problem getting the ball forward. They've done a very good job with their 1-2s, getting players into the box, being somewhat direct. But it's that inequality, man. As it's Jed Spence. That was a bad pass by Jed. Unbelievable. As Wolves now. They try to play that one forward, gets over the head. As Xavi. Oh, yeah, that's a definite foul. And looks like Home slice is going to get the yellow here. 100% late. As looks like Matt Doherty is the guilty party. That ball goes in all the way to the right. Here's Richarlison. Pops it back post. There's nobody there. Richie. Fucking Richie. By the way, just out of curiosity, I've noticed there was always his neck tattoo was always a bird. And I know they call him, is that a pigeon on his neck? Just out of curiosity. I know they call him the pigeon. I'm just curious if he's like gone in 100% on the pigeon. As that's going to get played forward. Oh, nice tap away from Bergvall. And there's a whistle. Oh, get up, bud. You know you're not hurt. You didn't get the whistle, but dude, flopping annoys me so much. Yeah, there you go. Didn't get the whistle. And he's, oh, whoa, shocker. He's okay. What a shocker. Ugh. And it looks like Udoshi's got to come off. And now all of a sudden, Wolves are going to try to act quickly here. That's taken away from Caduce. But they're going to say play on. Here come Wolves. And that ball is going to go flying over the crossbar right there, as that was Arias. Why not? As Arias from long range, but yeah, that wasn't going to make it. It was a good pass, too. As we were at the reset. It looks like Gomes is up. João Gomes. As Spurs will restart here. And that's taken away. And here comes Xavi now. As Xavi cuts in. And there's a whistle. And it's a yellow against Gomez. So Wolves have two that are on yellow here. 100% that's yellow. But it's also for a list of infractions that he's already had so far. As that one goes into Udoji, tries to play it across, that gets deflected out. We will have ourselves another corner. Spurs have 7 corners so far, about to be number 8. As Wolves have packed the 6-yard box here. As they're Here comes the ref now. Jesus. As Cudi Romero. As that ball gets whipped in. Immediately headed out. As here's Kudus on the right-hand side. Kudus creates space. Plays it in. Shot goes over the bar. As Kudus did find Bergvall there. And Bergvall's shot goes up and over. Ugh. Frustrating. As we are now in the 41st minute. 5 minutes to halftime here. As Johnstone will let one sail. And it's Xavi who comes down with it. Plays it forward, Udoji. But he gets tipped away. And Wolves will have to throw in. Spurs will hold possession as that gets played back to Vicario. As he finds Jed Spence on the right. And there's a whistle. And we begin again. Here's Paulinho. And Paulinho will go out to the right, and he will find Kudus. 1v1. Kudus takes a shot. That gets saved by Johnstone. Oh, there was no whistle. As Paulinho is down. And it was João Paulinho that made that little run into the box there. So here's Kudus. And Kudus puts one on. That gets saved. As João Paulo came to collect it. And it looks like he gets tripped up going into the box, and there's no whistle. He actually looked like he got kicked. As Paulinho comes up. Unbelievable. It was a good shot by Kudus. And coming into the box was Paulinho. And on his way in, Paulinho kind of gets kicked. Goes to ground, no whistle. Unreal. As play resumes now, as we're in the 44th minute, I'm sure we're going to have a couple minutes of stoppage time here at the end of the first half. And as Johnstone sail this one away. And it's Xavi. And there's a whistle against Doherty. And I think they're going to say handball. Either way, Spurs have possession. And it's Betancourt who finds Kudus. Kudus plays one in. Back post. Oh, and it's for Charlatan. You can't put it in. Another good ball in the box by Kudus. This time off his left. Oh. That was actually a good ball in, although it did take a deflection. But right there at the back post was Richarlison. You gotta time that run a little bit better. This ball off the corner from Xavi. We'll go back. There's 4 minutes of stoppage time here at the end of the first half. As Jed Spence will play it long to the left. But Spence will hold it. Here's Xavi. Goes to the right. It's all Kudus. Kudus plays one in. Back post, it gets headed up. As it bounces to the left, here's Udogie. Plays it forward. It's Xavi. As it looks like that's going to go out. First Spurs throw-in. So we are in stoppage time here in the first half. Spurs have been I would say the more aggressive team moving forward. Although, again, haven't been able to find goals. That ball gets whipped in. Played. But they just cannot find that last little clinical bit where they can find the back of the net. As Wolves are playing through pressure here. Oh, in the box. Oh, as Destiny Udogie clears it. That was a very good pass forward. And it was Destiny Udogie that got there to break it up. So this will be a Wolves corner. Their fourth. As that gets headed out. And Wolves will play it all the way back to Johnstone. So they will reset. As Johnstone will play it up the left-hand side. Headed centrally. As He Chan plays it off to the left. And that's good defense right there by Betancourt. As it'll go out for another Wolves corner. Both teams have been very good defending set piece. I guess outside of these corners, Wolves really haven't done a good job getting forward really after the initial 10 minutes. Spurs defense has done a very good job as that ball gets whipped in. Back post, and that ball sails. It was Matt Doherty. As obviously Doherty just didn't have a good position right there to shoot. And he sends it up off the crossbar, and that will probably do it for the first half, and it is. Scoreless draw here at the first half as we take a look at the stats. And it would show you that Spurs do lead the possession battle here, 56-44. XG 0.50 to Wolves 0.14. Total shots, Wolves 5, Spurs 4. Although Spurs do have the shots on target, 2-0. Spurs have 180 accurate passes to Wolves 145. Wolves have committed 7 fouls to Spurs 4. And Spurs lead the corner battle 8-5. When you look at those shots, yes, Wolves do have 5 shots, but 4 have been off target. Shots inside the box, Spurs 5, Wolves 2. Shots outside the box, Wolves 3, Spurs 0. So every single time that Wolves find themselves deep in Spurs territory, they just cannot find a way in the box. Passes total, Spurs 216, Wolves 175. Passes in the opposition own half, is 75 all. Passes in the opposition half, Spurs 105, Wolves 70. Accurate long ball, Spurs lead that 14-12. Accurate crosses, Spurs 6, Wolves 3. Touches in the opposition box, Spurs 18, Wolves 9. Defense tackles, Wolves 10, Spurs 9. Interceptions are 4-4. Blocks are 1-1. And, of course, Wolves lead the clearance battle 27-13. Duels, it's 27-all. Ground duels, Wolves 18, Spurs 17. Aerial duels, 10-9 Spurs. And successful dribbles, Wolves 4, Spurs 2. It just gives you an idea of who's controlled the tempo in this match so far through the first 45. And it really has been all Spurs, as there's this weird David Beckham, Matt Damon, Stella Artois commercial that kind of I ended up losing. I got distracted. But yeah. Here's the thing, right? Spurs actually did okay in the first half. And again, being able to work it up both sides, whether it's on the left with Xavi and Destiny Dozier off the right side with Mohamed Kudus, they're showing different versions, which I like, right? So they're not one-dimensional, but it's just that final third, man. It's that final clinical touch in the final third where Spurs are just lacking. And they've had pretty decent runs into the box, but it's that last little bit that they just cannot seem to get right. And by the way, Wolves haven't necessarily been all that great on defense either. So Wolves have been a little bit fortunate that Spurs just can't necessarily put it together. But, the question is Thomas Frank going to roll with the same starting 11? I would probably assume. I don't necessarily think there is a remedy off the bench at this point that makes a little sense. But that being said, as this one continues to wane, I would probably think maybe a Papstar makes an appearance. It definitely makes a little sense. But I'm a little apt to roll with this starting 5. Oh, that one at the back post, man. Where both Kudus and Richarlison meet at the back post. I'm just looking at the halftime highlights. Man, that could have been the goal. And you got to finish too. That's exactly what I'm talking about here. It's just a lack of finishing. Oh, man. All right. So, how about as I'm looking at these matches today, Crystal Palace, man, 12 points. I like that, man. I don't know how you guys feel as we're waiting for the start of the second half, but it's weird because I do have, Premier League favorites. I do like certain teams. Of course, I'm a Spurs fan through and through, but there are a few teams that I do watch consistently. Crystal Palace is one of them, and I'm kind of happy. I'm kind of happy that they're doing well. We welcome Audio Artisan, who says that we're doing it the hard way. I know. We can't just do it the easy way. We can't face Doncaster every single week. That would be excellent, but it is what it is. But what I will say is that, we've had our chances. We have had them. We are getting forward. We're making good inverted runs too. And there was that one little give and go that sprang Destiny Doji off the left side. Instead of being immediate and direct, he kind of held on to it, allowing his defender, to get caught up. And then at that point, it gets played out for a corner, right? So it's just that little bit of clinical finish is that it's what this team is missing at the point. And I kind of, what it would be excellent, and I'll just say this. And this is why I wanted Xavi at the 10, is because that is that last little bit of clinical, right? Because I would rather have Xavi making those runs, playing off a guy like Lucas Bergvall, right? And that's something that when we're actually being a little bit more direct centrally, yeah, it makes a little bit more sense. And this is nothing against Lucas Bergvall as the lone 10. I understand exactly why Xavi's out left. I get it, because there is really not a lot of trust in Brennan Johnson or a guy like Matisse Tell. And so from that standpoint, you don't know exactly what you're going to get from Wilson Odobert. And so I understand exactly why he's being played out left, because there is some stability with Lucas Bergvall. But there is also something completely different that we have with Xavi in that position that we don't have with Bergvall yet. Holy. I just saw a horrible Jimmy John's commercial. Jesus. All right, let's see. All the good stuff seems to be coming from Destiny and Kudos. Keep the rest keep breaking down the moves. Yeah, you're right. You're right, and that's the thing, right? Like, I'm glad you said that, because I would agree. I would agree that so far Destiny has been playing better off the left than what we've seen from Jed Spence. Although Jed Spence is a very good defender, but that's why Thomas Frank and Postecoglou always went back to Destiny Udogie, because he just gives you that a little extra something in the attack that Jed Spence just doesn't give you, man. You think Dane Scarlett's going to get a chance today, huh? What makes you say that? Just out of curiosity, because I actually don't see Dane coming in this match at all. And it's nothing against Dane Scarlett. I don't know if this is going to be the match, man. I would think that maybe that game against Doncaster probably would have, but he didn't get into Doncaster, so I don't know what to tell you. But we are getting close. He said because Richie is crap. Yeah. And watch Richie score, man. Watch Richie score. That's all I'm going to say. Because usually that's like the omen, right? That's that this last Wednesday was perfect example, right? Because Brendan Johnson, outside of a few isolated moments in the first half, was largely useless. And as soon as I put an exclamation point on his game, he goes out and scores. It's usually how it goes, right? So that's a bad omen by saying that Richie is crap, because that's what's generally going to happen. He's going to end up scoring in the second half. It seems like the more that we harp on players, and the more that we pull their card, the more apt that they're going to put themselves in a position to score. So, yeah. But you're right, though. He has been shit. I can see Sarr coming on and win this game. Yeah, I mentioned Sarr a little bit earlier in this halftime. I mean, realistically, that might be the only change if I'm going to make one. I wouldn't mind seeing Sarr come in for maybe Betancourt. But I will say that Lucas Bergvall hasn't necessarily played terribly. Like, I don't want to say that. As that was such a weird Gorilla Glue commercial. I'm telling you guys, the American TV audience just has a weird commercial stand. I'm just saying that, man. Anyway, but that being said, man, I wouldn't necessarily say Lucas has played bad to the point where you would need to make an out and out switch like for like. But I don't know, man. There's something about Betancourt over the course of the last couple of weeks that he just necessarily hasn't necessarily been playing his best. And that's what happens with Bergvall. You'll get like a 4 to 5 week run where he's absolutely sensational. Then you'll throw in a couple flinkers. But I agree with you. Yeah, Xavi and Bergvall seem to be trying hard. Yeah, I would agree with that. But man, Bergvall, when you're in that position, when you're making that central run, and I understand that ball gets tipped, but it was right there at the end of his foot, man. Right there at the end of his foot, and you got to put something on it. And he absolutely flat out missed it. My Premier League morning. Oh, so I guess they're going to Denver, huh? Denver, Colorado. For the Premier League Morning Fan Fest. To Portland, Maine, huh? Anyway, the USA broadcast of the Premier League is what Spurs are being shown on today, and so of course, they're doing their shout outs for Premier League morning. But let's see what's going on here. Yeah, so it looks like your boy Richarlison has taken some heat in some of the WhatsApp groups. Outside of the, I guess you can say the Burnley game, and he did score against Man City, but outside of those first two matches, man, Richarlison has been figured out, right? And that's the crux of the issue, is that we're essentially playing out. We're essentially playing without a legit nine. And so from it, our hold up play is trash, and in order to get Richarlison involved, we have no choice but to play with width. It's the only way that we're going to be able to stretch the center back pairings that allow a guy like Richarlison to actually get in position, through the channels where he can actually use his movement to get on it. But that being said, I don't know if you guys have noticed this though, but in the Bournemouth match, in the Brighton match, his runs were slow. Like he was, there were mistimed runs where he ended up slow, and he ended up missing it. He ended up missing some of those crosses, right? So I don't know if it's an injury. I don't know what it is, but that being said, it seems like he's mistiming his runs. And he's been largely ineffective really since Man City. But Wolves are going to make a change to start the second half, and it looks like Agabadu is coming in, and Chukwemeni. Let's find out real quick. Let's go to Agabadu's come in, and here we go. Jackson Chakachua. Say that name 3 times fast. As we begin the second half here, as Spurs now will be going to the north end, and Wolves are attacking the south wall as that ball gets played out. I play Richie left, Chavi 10, and Brendan Johnson up front. I would not even remotely play Brent. Like if Brendan Johnson continues to get bullied on the left, what makes you think that Brendan Johnson won't get bullied being played central? I just really want to know why people have this weird fascination with Brendan Johnson as a striker. I just don't get it, man. Dude constantly gets bullied on either side on the wings, as that ball is going to get played up the right-hand side. As Wolves are now going to attack here. Good defense by Spurs. Yeah, I just don't get it, man. As they're going to have to play this one all the way back to Johnstone now. As that ball sails, headed forward by Betancourt, that's going to go out for a Wolves throw-in. Yeah, like I get it, right? Because he always floats to a post and he always seems to be in a position for a tap-in goal. But that third goal in the 90th minute, when he essentially made that run centrally, you have to add a little context, right? It was Doncaster. It's a League One side, right? Brendan should easily have the advantage. But that being said, it's like in the Premier League, like he can't skin a defender off the right or the left-hand side. And he always gets bullied off the ball, right? So Brendan would get manhandled by center backs in this league. As that ball gets played forward, and it'll land right to the midst of Vicario, and Spurs will start. Says he will, but he'll be closer to the goal and won't have to defend. Yeah, I don't see it. Asking Brendan Johnson to play a hold-up game. The only striker in our roster that's actually pretty good in the hold-up is Dominic Solanke. Here comes Udoji. And that's going to get played off and out. So Spurs will have a throw in here. And immediately he goes forward, and it's for Charlison. And Spurs will win themselves a free kick here. As he gets pushed in the back by Bueno. Sure, fullbacks usually are faster than center backs, but center backs are usually tougher than fullbacks. And if Brendan is getting bullied by fullbacks, he probably is going to get bullied by center backs as well, too. As this will be a nice free kick for Spurs here in a dangerous area. As Paulinho and Betancourt stand outside at the 6-yard box. It'll be Kudus and it'll be Xavi. As Kudus will play it in, and that ball was short. Immediately gets headed out. Spurs will reset. And they play it back to Vicario. You give audio, man. You're my guy, and I like you. I really do, man. I think you're a good dude, but I don't know, man. You give Brendan Johnson far, far too much credit. And maybe I don't give him enough credit outside of his ability to Houdini himself and find himself in a position to score. Every other aspect of his game is just not good enough for the Premier League. And I actually think I don't think his speed is good enough to do that. Here's Kudus off the left-hand side here. That's a ball in. And that goes all the way on the other side. Good tap right there by Betancourt. So is that Kudus on the left-hand side? Here's Xavi. Oh. And racing back is Van de Ven. God, that dude's top end speed is great. By the way, just saying, Van de Ven used to be a striker. I'm joking, of course. But he was back in his youth days within the Netherlands. He was a striker. Here's Jed Spence. Spence is going to play one forward here. And that's going to get out. And I believe it's a goal kick. As you say, no hold game, just running between center backs to confuse them and make space. Again, man. And, you know, that's the thing. It's like every point you can make for Brennan Johnson to be a striker, I can counter it. You're my guy, though. I like your audio. Speaking of Brennan, there he is right there, being shown on the bench. Ooh. As Bergvall hits the see, again, I'm going to have to disagree with you on this one. I give no credit. He's one of the worst players I've seen at Spurs, but he's better than Odegaard and Tell and can only score goals, so I'll put him as close to goal as possible. Yeah, he actually Odegaard is better for this team at the left wing side than Brennan Johnson. And I think that Thomas Frank understands that too. As that ball's going to get played. Oh, good defense right there. He had Kudus on his step. Ball was just a little under. And Wolves will take possession. Spurs were trying to break right there. As I would assume that coming in the 60th minute, we're going to see substitutions from Spurs. But here comes Wolves down the right-hand side. There's a ball in. And it's Betancourt. You know, like if you were telling me if we were playing like a 3-5-2, if you were playing with a primary target 9 and an off 9, if you were trying to sell me on the idea of Brennan Johnson maybe as an off 9, I might give it some credit because you could possibly put him in a situation where he's camped into the channels and he's close to goal, but even then. Oh, Vicario. Oh, that's a goal by Wolves. Wolves get the goal. Off a set piece. As we see it again, that ball went in. Oh, but is there a potential for an offsides here? As Vicario made a save, and it looked like number 5 for Wolves was in an offside position. Vicario made the initial save, and it looks like home dude was offside. As that ball ricocheted off of Polinia's thigh, but it looked like Manetzi might have been offside. But I guess not. Goal. So now Wolves all of a sudden have a 1-0 lead. And in traffic, Spurs lose the ball. You don't like the purple goalkeeper kit? Yeah, I don't like it either, man. Ooh, and that ball is taken away. But given right back to Wolves. Man. So in the 55th minute, Wolves lead 1-0 as Spurs are going to find themselves in a precarious situation here. As they have had numerous looks at the goal and haven't been able to finish. And this is exactly why, man. This is exactly why we're not there yet. A couple reasons. Number one, we just don't have a sustainable attack yet. We don't have a number 9. And two, it's like, man, these are the matches where we have to win. Wolves are a team that is going down, and they've just been defensively solid and have pick and choose when they want to get when they want to counter, and they were able to make it. They were able to pop one in off a set piece. Meanwhile, Spurs just can't figure out the final piece of the puzzle. I think this is I think this should be the highlight that, Spurs are going to be good. We're just not there yet. And that's okay. Under Thomas Frank, we look far more compact, far more organized. Here comes Xavi. There's a whistle. Are we going to blow a chance to go to second? Something very familiar about that, yeah. It's Ipswich all over again. Yeah. Or Leicester at home. Or Bournemouth at home. There's Thomas Frank. He's going to have to make some decisions here. As the ref looks like the ref is going to tell us to do this on over again. As we start again, here's Chavs. As here's Caduce against Bueno. As Caduce puts one in, it's going to be headed up. Kept in by Palhinha. But headed out, and that's going to get out for a Wolves throw-in. As we are approaching the 60th minute. As the Wolves supporters are flying high right now. We can't lose to Wolves, man. I mean, we can draw to Wolves. Here comes Xavi. Oh. Good defense right there. As Xavi was trying to pace himself to the back post right there. That'll be a Lucas Bergvall with the throw in here. God, his hair is gorgeous. Fucking Swedish supermodel. That gets deflected. Oh, good play right there by Bergvall. And Spurs will hold possession. And it's Jed Spence. I would probably assume that we're probably, I wouldn't be surprised if we saw Pedro Porro check into this one. Here's Xavi. That's going to get deflected out by Bueno. God damn it, there's Buenos everywhere. What is the max roster rule for guys whose last name is Bueno? Is it like 2? Is it like 4? Are Wolves at the roster limit for Buenos? As Xavi's hand goes up, and that ball gets played in, punched away by Johnstone, and Spurs will try it again. Here's Jed Spence. Oh, he kicks it out. But there's a whistle. As Andre finds the turf there. And we will see a double switch right here. And coming in is Pedro Porro. And it looks like your homeboy, Brennan Johnson's coming in. So here comes Betancourt. He comes out for Brennan. You fished your witch, man. BJ's on the pitch. As Jed Spence comes off here. And here comes Pedro Porro. Yeah, I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised that Pedro's coming on. There just seems to be a lack of familiarity with Jed Spence and Mohamed Kudus. So Pedro's rest lasted all of about an hour. And it looks like Wolves are going to make a switch too. And it looks like Gomez is coming off. And it looks like Omar Little's coming on. Yep. I believe that we will win. Yeah, I do too. Actually, it's Belgrade. Comes in. Kind of looks like Omar Little. Here comes Udoji. Plays it forward to Kudus. Kudus is on the left side. Oh, good defense. As it looks like Chachua was free on the inside, little underlap right there. As Mohamed Kudus got his pocket picked right there, 1v1. That ball is going to get taken away immediately from Bergvall. Here come Wolves. Ooh. As Bergvall is going to get a yellow here. For that challenge. It's unbelievable, man. It's not that unbelievable. And that's what I like about Bergvall. He plays literally with no fear. He is not afraid to get into a tackle. As this will be a free kick. As Spurs are going to have to keep their head on a swivel here. They can't go 2 down. As that ball gets played in. And it's Kudus. who again gets his pocket picked. There's Brendan. So Xavi has gone more centrally here with Betancourt leaving. It's going to leave Brendan Johnson on the right. Caduce is going to be on the left. That was nasty. But by the way, that's what I like. That's what I like about him, man. He kind of plays with a little bit of a reckless abandonment. You know, that's one of the qualities that I like about him, right? He's not afraid to get into a tackle, get into a little scrap right there. As Wolves will throw this one in. As that ball will go out to the right. There's the cross, back post. There's Vicario. And who immediately plays it, but there's a whistle. Oh, I see what's going on. They're saying that ball went out. Okay. As that ball's going to go centrally, trying to find Richarlison. That ball is on a dime. And that's what Pedro Porro has. The ability to play it long. The only problem is that, it's Richarlison. Being man marked by two center backs. As play resumed, as we're in the 67th minute here, Spurs down 1, fishing for the equalizer. Ooh, boy. Was that Belgrade? That was a beautiful ball forward right there. As Bergvall, and it looked like Belgrade. We're fighting for it, but oh boy. As that one gets out, as Wolves were pressing hard right there. As Udoji plays it out, last touch by him, so Wolves will have a throw in deep. As that gets played all the way back to Johnstone, who immediately skies it forward. As that'll go all the way back to Vicario. That's Pedro Porro. As Brendan Johnson will play it back to Romero. And as that goes around to Udogi. As Wolves are actually doing a very good job defensively now. Here's Pedro Porro cutting in. Here's Brendan Johnson. Tries to tip it forward. There's just nobody there. As this attack just doesn't look good. As that ball gets played all the way out, so that'll be a Spurs throw-in. They were looking for Belgrade on the long ball. As Pedro Porro will be responsible for this throw-in here. as a Bergvall here is going to try to play it forward. There's just nobody there except for a bunch of Wolves. Now there's a whistle. And it'll again be on Bergvall. And of course, you got to be a little controlled in this situation, considering Bergvall's already on a yellow. Spurs have 22 touches in the opposition box to Wolves' 12. But Wolves have the goal. That separates these two. As that ball gets played forward. And there's Vicario. Good run right there for Wolves. Here's BJ. As that ball got tipped. Blocked as Cudi Romero now gets up. It's a nasty little tackle right there. As Porro got his long ball deflected, and now Vicario has no choice but to play it out. So Wolves, over the last 10 minutes, have actually held possession quite well. If Spurs have had absolutely no answer. They certainly spent the last 10 minutes chasing here. Come on, Brendan. He's so slow. Yeah, that ball gets headed all the way back, and it's going to be Vicario to play it long. Oh, and Polina just misses it. Here comes Wolves. Off the outside, shoots. Ooh, that's a good save right there by Vicario. Yeah, I think you're right, man. I think you're right about those purple kits. Let's see. Yeah, we can't keep the ball or complete passes. Yeah, no, I agree with you. As Wolves look like they're now just dominating possession. You wonder if bringing on Brendan was the right play there. Not seeing a Pap Sarr come on, as that'll be whipped in. And it looks like that'll be headed to the side netting. Yeah. Good save, though, by Vicario. So we'll do this one again as that goes deeper. But there's Vicario. Good play by Vicario. And as he's immediately going to get this out. Oh, boy. Xavi. Oh. Held in by Spurs here. As that ball's going to get played to the right. The Spurs are looking for space here. Here's Van de Ven. Here's Yadosh. That ball's taken away. Here come Wolves now. As that ball's going to get played forward. There's Vicario. God, just Wolves are clogging every passing lane. Playing very excellent defense now as we're 15 minutes away. Yeah, you're right. We are out of ideas. Here's Berg. Here's Paid. Back to Berg. Here's BJ. BJ trying to get it around his man. Puts one in. And that one's going to get headed out by Chuka Chaka. But hey, look at that. Pedro, look at Brendan showing a little backbone right there. I like it. What's up with Strand Larson? Or look at that script. They're reshowing that last corner as Brennan Johnson got into a wrestling match there on the goal line. Well, here's Xavi gonna play one in as that ball gets headed out, and it'll be a race, and it's Mohamed Kudus who wins it as that ball gets out. And it looks like Wilson Odebear and Papsar are going to come in. Is Brendan coming out? Is Brendan coming out? No. Bergvall's coming out. Papsar's coming in. And I would think that Kudus is coming out off the left-hand side. Oh, Xavi's coming out. Okay. Yeah, you really, really, really want Dane Scarlett to be in, don't you, man? You got a nice little bromance with Dane Scarlett. It's got to be the hair, because that ball is going to get played forward, just a little too forward. And I'm assuming that means Kudus is going to be played a little bit more centrally. I'm curious to see what Mr. Odebear has got to show. As we are now in the 78th minute now, Wolves lead by 1 as that ball gets played out. We can't let Wolves get 3 points. Spurs will hold it in. Ish. As now he's no worse than Richie. And that's gonna get out. It will be a Spurs throw in here. As it will make its way around the right-hand side. Pedro Porro is going to play one in. Richie got on the end of it, but it was nowhere near the target. Fucking Richie. There's Thomas Frank chewing his gum. We just don't have any ideas. As Johnstone will play this one all the way out, so Spurs will get the ball back. Fucking Johnston. Can Spurs find the equalizer? They did it against Brighton on the road, but now all of a sudden Wolves are countering. They'll get nervous and make mistakes in the last 10 minutes, hopefully. Yeah, hopefully. It doesn't look like Wolves are making mistakes, though. It looks like Wolves are the aggressor here. As that ball gets taken away. And it looks like it's Wilson. Every time, and I mean every time, that ball gets played centrally, there are 2 blue shirts that converge on converge on the ball. We're stuck on the wings. That was a heavy touch right there. Pedro Porro maintains possession, but good lord. This is sloppy. As this goes out to the left. Here's Odo. Lays it off to Udoge. Here's Camembert. 1v1. Plays it a little centrally. Here's Odo. Udoge, sorry. As they're going to play this one up the right-hand side. There's a shot from long range that goes well over the bar. Why not? Why not, Christian? Why not put one on? As Spurs fans are not pleased. A lot of shaking heads. As we're coming up on the 82nd minute, and Spurs have not figured out how to get the equalizer. As Spurs are trying to ramp up the pressure here. And it looks like Matisse Tell is getting ready. Oh, geez. As they're trying to play through traffic, and they do. That gets tipped away. There's a shot that goes over the bar, and that was João Palhinha. A lot of frustration on the pitch. And again, not a bad idea at this stage. And that's going to be it for Richie. No, it's not. This is a Wolves change. So Strand Larsen's coming off. But yeah, I would probably assume that Richie's going to come off for Tell. Scarlett must have shagged somebody's daughter. I'm leaving that one up. I'm leaving this one up, audio. Or he's got incriminating photos. As Obadakari, Obo Kadare comes on. Or, just hear me out, audio, or he's just not good enough. That could be it. I don't know, man. Maybe I'm just fishing for ideas, but as that ball was played long, hear me out, audio, or you could just, or, yeah, that's funny. Or you could just shut the fuck up. No, I'm just playing. The reality is, Dane Scarlett is not going to change the complexion of this match. It feels like it's already over. As that one goes out. We're in the 84th minute. Maybe both. No, I mean seriously, this match is over. There's just no creativity. There's we just lack. This is unfortunately, it's the weird thing, right? Because Spurs defensively, that's a good run right here. Here comes Mickey Van de Ven bombing down the left side. And it looks like Chakoa is a slide tackle on Mickey Van de Ven, and they're saying that ball went out. And they're saying this is going to go to Wolves. But these are the type of matches where you should always take 3 points. Against a team that's only scored, 3 times in the Premier League? No wins. And there's no excuse for this. Yeah, Wolves have scored 4 goals, and as of right now, they're going to pick up their first win. This is inexcusable. Here's Pedro Porro. He's going to put one on. There's Johnstone. As Pedro Porro is trying to do anything to get any ball close to the net. But yeah, I mean, without a 9, without a true target 9, that not only can hold the ball up, but also, appropriately attack channels and put himself in a placement where you can actually get across. And we're also doing it without a left winger. As of right now, this is a liability. It begs the question. Yeah, I know. Spursy. Yeah, this was a, especially on the attacking side, this was definitely Spursy. There's no doubt about it. Defensively they're good. I don't have any qualms with the way this team is set up as a counterattacking side. I don't have a problem with that. But as of right now, the only 2 legit threats, attacking wise, is Kudus and Xavi. And today Xavi was played out left instead of being played a little bit more central. As that ball's going to get played out. As now that's going to try to get played in and immediately gets head out. Here's Papsar. And I don't understand what that was. That's now Wolves. That ball gets taken away by Sarr. And here comes Wolves now on the counterattack. Oh, boy. Good defense right there. And, as Romero came in. That was a good tackle, by the way. He got all ball. And it looks like Bob Marley doesn't want to get up. He says, "Fuck you, Romero. Fuck you, bud." So this will be a Wolves throw-in. And it'll need to go out, so it looks like it'll be another Wolves throw-in. As we are now approaching the 89th minute. And I happen to have to agree with Audie Watterson. This really has been a disgrace. This was an opportunity to gain 3 points on the worst team in the Premier League, put themselves in a position to get in second, and we dropped the ball. I don't. There's no excuse that you can make that makes this better. It just is what it is. This attacking 3 is just not complete. We didn't, it doesn't help that, Dom Solanke is still out, right? When Solanke, there's going to be, by the way, there's 5 minutes of stoppage time, 5 minutes of extra time. We won't score with 5 hours. 100%. That's the thing. Let's be honest, right? Because if we actually had Solanke available, he's starting instead of Richie. he actually has the physicality that the position's required, right? And it's the little things that you absolutely need in a modern striker. That is what's missing from this, what's missing from this attack. Now, the question is who's a better finisher, right? Is it Solanke or is it Richie? And I would probably assume that in a Thomas Frank attack, I would probably assume that Solanke is probably going to be better sized to get those finishes. We'll see. We'll see. Me personally, I think a lot of Spurs fans have written off Dom Solanke, and I think it's a little early to do something like that. As that'll go out and it'll be a Spurs throw-in. As we are 91 and a half minutes in. And it looks like there's going to be another change for Wolves. You know what? I at the end of the day, man, you got to give credit to Wolves. They came in and got the job done. All they needed was one, and they got it. The crazy thing is this team were able to engineer a comeback at Brighton. To grab a result. And Brighton obviously is a much better team. And it just goes to show you what football is about. But that being said, man, this is what happens when, I hate to say it, when your attack is just shit. And this isn't, by the way, and I got to say this isn't a Thomas Frank problem. Our attack was shit last year under our attacking three was shit under Postecoglou for both seasons, really. And I can understand why Spurs fans want Harry Kane back. And Harry Kane in a Thomas Frank system would be unbelievable. As that ball gets played in, it got deflected. It was kept in. Here's Odo. Lays it off to the Udoge. As Udoji will try to play one in. There's nothing there. There's a shot. Goal! João Palhinha finds the equalizer. João Palhinha. Oh, and he gets a yellow too. He gets a yellow for taking off his shirt. Screw it. The savior. As that came right off the deflection. Oh, it was Pap Sarr. It was Pap Sarr that played it back to Palhinha. And he puts an absolute missile into the far corner. And Spurs are rescued at the last minute by João Palhinha. Woo! Woo! Rescued. As we're approaching the 95th minute here. And it wasn't Richie. And it wasn't Kudus. It wasn't Xavi. It wasn't Pap Sarr. It wasn't Bergvall. It was Palhinha, who does it again. Yeah, fuck those traveling Wolves fans that thought they were going to get 3. Yeah, fuck you guys. Not in our house. As Spurs potentially have pulled a rabbit out of their ass. As that one will get out. We are in the 95th minute. And it's Vicario. Hey, mamma mia. And Odebear. Actually, it's Udoge. No, it's Odebear. Now it's Udoji. No, it's Tell. Sorry. I forgot he came in. Oh, boy. Get it away. And that ball will get skied all the way out. It's not so bueno, is it? Fucking Wolves. You're double bueno. As Spurs will have a throw in here. As we are in the 96th minute now. As we are waiting for the final whistle here. And it'll be Pap, and there it is. As Spurs get rescued. As Spurs get the Hail Mary goal from João Palhinha in 90 plus 4, and Spurs get a result. Unbelievable. And yeah, dude, I agree with you, Audio. Thank fuck for that. Holy shit. And Spurs find themselves rescued. As now there's a brouhaha down on the pitch. And it looks like everything is good. But dude, you said it, man. Thank fuck for that. As Tottenham didn't necessarily play their best match today. And at certain points there in the second half, it looked like Wolves were starting to open up a little bit. As they get the goal off the set piece. But as things were looking doom and gloom, as we got into extra time, João Palhinha finds the equalizer. And it saves Tottenham. A very humiliating result. So from that standpoint, I guess everything is good. But listen, I'll say the exact same thing as I said against Brighton, and that is good teams will figure out how to get a result when things aren't going their way. And this is the second straight Premier League match where things were just not looking good. From that standpoint, I guess this result was warranted. But that being said, it's like, it's obvious now for anybody that's watching that Spurs have a problem in their attack. And from this standpoint, we do need somebody, whether that's Dom Solanke, whether that's Randall Kolo Muani, somebody, like, something has to give here. Yeah, Wolves deserve more than a point, but fuck them. Yeah, that's exactly right. Fuck them. But the reality is something's got to give here because we are getting dangerously close to the portion of the schedule where we're going to start seeing, some of the top-end teams of the Premier League. As, by the way, Tottenham now moves into a tie for third with Sunderland and Bournemouth at 11 points. So it's not all doom and gloom, but who would have thought fucking Sunderland would have been on 11 points? Good for them, I guess. But as we look at the rest of this, coming up on Tuesday, Spurs have to travel to Norway to play their old familiar Bodo Glimt. Then we have Leeds on Saturday there. Then we have Aston Villa. Then we get Monaco. Then it's Everton. And then this is where the schedule changes. Because then our Premier League fixtures are Chelsea, Man United, Arsenal, Fulham, Newcastle, Brentford, Slavia Prague, Forest, and then Liverpool. I guess it's not. I guess it's, yeah, I mean, the degree of difficulty changes a little bit. But that being said, something's going to have to give here because, October 19th, it's Villa. Then we got to travel to Monaco. And then we got to travel to Everton. And by the way, Everton hasn't necessarily been playing all that bad. Granted, yeah, they're in 12th place, but whatever. It's something that, as far as I'm concerned, has to be a little bit remedied. Now, the good news is I would assume by, well, let's hope by Leeds that both Dom Solanke and Randall Kolo Muani are going to be available. At least one of them is going to be available. And then by Aston Villa on October 19th, that all of them should be available. So that'll put us in a very good position for Monaco, Everton, and Chelsea. But man, something has to give because we can't continue this Premier League run where it's you're hoping for somebody to bail us out. It just doesn't work that way. We have to take advantage of the first 45 against these type of teams, and it's kind of just it. I don't know, man. I don't know how to say it. It's just it's kind of disconcerting a little bit. Let's see. I'm kind of curious, by the way. I'm kind of curious about how we're going to handle that crowd at Ellen Road against Leeds. Let's see. Richie is too inconsistent. Let's see. Richie is too inconsistent. Tell ain't ready. Xavi ain't quite up to speed yet. Midfield has very little chemistry. This needs to change fast. I will say that the midfield three of Polinia, Betancourt, and Xavi could get on the same page quick. Or throw in Bergvall for Betancourt if you want to make any type of rotation. But that being said, it's like having those three, I would probably assume that they would be able to click quick, right? But that being said, it's like this constant rotation on the left-hand side is bugging, right? And there is absolutely no chemistry on the left-hand side. There's no chemistry really centrally through the strikers. And to this point, it's costing us valuable points. At the very least, we are organized and compact in the back. That's going to help. But, in the buildup, it's just hard to watch. When we're fortunate enough to be able to strike quick in the counter, we look night and day different. But when we're building up, man, you can see the lack of chemistry. You can see the lack of involvement. We didn't really see a lot of 1-2s today. The couple times we saw it was with Xavi and Udogie. I can't necessarily recall if we saw on the right hand side, but those little 1-2s that open up running lanes are going to pay off. And so as of right now, there has to be something's going to have to give. But let's go ahead and take a look at the Premier League as we recap the week that was. Not Leeds. As we recap the week that was, which is match week 6, Brentford beat Manchester United, which isn't a surprise, as Igor Thiago bagged a brace and T.S. Jensen scored in the 90+5, while Benjamin Sesko scored for Man United. But that being said, goddamn it, Brentford at home, absolutely boat racing Man United. Leeds and Bournemouth played to a 2-2 draw. Joe Rodon, former Spur Joe Rodon, and Sean Longstaff scored for Leeds. Antoine Semenyo scored for Bournemouth. And Eli Jr. Krupi scored the 90 plus third as that one drawed out 2-2. Chelsea got absolutely boat raced by Brighton. Trevor Chalobah got the red card in the 53rd minute, and Chelsea was down a man. But Enzo Fernandez scored in the 24th minute. Danny Welbeck hit a brace, and Maxime de Kuyper scored in the 90 plus 2 as Brighton takes all three at Stamford Bridge. Good. Man City absolutely demolished Burnley as Maxime Esteve, as he's credited with 2 own goals. Matías Núñez scored in the 61st minute, and Erling Haaland scored twice in the 90th minute as Jaden Anthony scored for Burnley. But God damn it, Manchester City absolutely dummied Burnley. Crystal Palace with the upset of the day. 2-1 over Liverpool as Sarr scored the 9th minute, Chiesa in the 87th minute, and Nketiah scored the 90 plus 7 as Crystal Palace pulled a massive upset today, beating the league leaders. Sunderland, by the way, beats Nottingham Forest 1-0 as Omar Aldrete scored in the 38th minute, and that one held up. As it's too bad as Ange Postecoglou has yet to secure his first win as Nottingham Forest's manager. Tomorrow, though, it'll be Villa hosting Fulham, Newcastle hosting Arsenal, and on Monday it'll be Everton versus West Ham as Harry Potter is sacked as West Ham's head coach. In comes Nuno Espirito Santos as their new head coach. And the first order of business for Nuno is to get that team compact, at least playing better defense. As Graham Potter, unfortunately, man, it's too bad, but it is what it is. West Ham is terrible. And of course, I think you might be right, Audio. Amorim is probably going to get sacked. There's only so many excuses that you're going to be able to make, and I don't think this is a Ruben Amorim problem, if I'm being perfectly honest. But that being said, today at the Lane, Spurs 1, Wolves 1 as João Palhinha rescues Spurs right as the final whistle was about to go off. And Spurs are fortunate to walk away with a point today. But let me tell you, man, this is a little disconcerting because, it would be understandable if we were in the first 3 weeks of the season, but, we're pushing up toward match week 10, and we're still having issues when it comes to this attacking three. And I would probably assume that Kudus is going to continue playing off on the right-hand side. But the question is, number one, who is going to be that striker week in and week out? Because I think it's obvious that Richarlison is not going to be that answer. As a matter of fact, I would probably think Richarlison makes sense coming in that 70th, 80th minute, fresh legs, being able to use that a little bit better later on down the stretch. It gives potentially a nice little 1-2 at the top there. And then of course, what's going to happen on that left hand side? Is that going to eventually be a Rando Kolo Muani type of thing, or are we going to see Kolo Muani, a little bit more centrally, right? So that's the thing, because I would probably assume that once we actually have those options, my guess is that Kolo Muani will be out left. And I think that makes a little sense. But until then, it is what it is. But I do want to thank all you guys for tuning in. Make sure you guys hit the like and subscribe buttons. I want to thank you guys again for another awesome Hotspur watch along. I will be back next week for Leeds United. I wish I could do the Champions League, but of course, work. It is what it is. I'm sure my boss would, not be thrilled if I, just took a time out there to do a watch along at work. So it is what it is. So next week I will see you guys back. By the way, we will have a pre-match build up next week on Friday. It'll go off at 8:00 Eastern. And I believe that's going to be midnight-ish over in the UK. But that being said, we have guest, Mr. Rakdos Magnus, who will be joining us next Friday evening. So that should be fun, as we will get into all things Spurs, and also we will break down Leeds United. It's kind of an interesting matchup, so we'll get into that. And of course, we will talk about a few things Premier League as well, too. So I want to thank you guys for stopping in, and come on, you Spurs.